Hello, everyone, and welcome to Wrestling Rundown. Little reminder that this is our last show for 2 weeks. We will be back on the Monday, the Tuesday following Thanksgiving, which will postpone our live show until then anyway. Gary's work schedule in the meantime has not been interfering with the show in any way, shape, or form, so we're good there. Moving on, we now kick off Friday Night SmackDown from, well, yesterday night. Anyway, the show's going to kick off with Miz, as he is in his hometown, so it's only proper he begins the show.
Mm-hmm.
He returns with his third installment of Miz TV, which this one wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Not too much carnage as I thought there would be. His guest is none other than his team leader, Mick Foley. And then everybody on the team comes out, and they all start talking. Now, did Kane really thank The Miz? It's awfully, weird. Daniel Bryan goes on to say that, if it weren't for me, you'd be in the basement scaring little children. Kane looks and goes, I roam in the basement and scare little children regardless.
Mm-hmm.
That. Kane!
Oh yeah, that's right. He does count as little children. Let's face it, you set yourself up for that.
Mm-hmm. I know. Name is some bitch. And then Ziggler comes out with his team, and they had to give their 2 cents. As we said, well, actually I didn't say, Cody Rhodes is not there because he suffered a concussion
Due to Kane on
WWE's main event.
Yeah, WWE main event.
This past Wednesday night.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I must say that Mick Foley is making the most of his TV time, and it shows. I mean, he makes pretty good matches.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, nonetheless, they are predictable.
Well, here's the thing. Foley's been making such good matches that I could see him filling in a GM spot down the road.
Yeah, but granted, the matches are somewhat predictable and who's going to be in them. But it's always interesting to see how they'll play out.
Mm-hmm.
Next, we'll start it off with our first singles match of the night. And that's going to be Kofi Kingston and what's his name? Damien Sandow. And this is where Gary's going to take over.
Alright. As we have said time and time again, Kofi's a true high flyer because of his leg strength, causing almost all, if not most, if not all, of his high-flying moves. You need to keep him grounded in order to get the upper hand. Kofi has been extremely aggressive, extremely well. He's definitely brought out his A game in the past few weeks. And Sandow's been doing pretty well as well. And however, Sandow still, when it comes to one-on-one matches, he still tries to
whip out a little bit.
Yeah, he still has that
instinct.
Yeah. When it comes
How can I finish your sentences? You can't even finish your own.
No, I can. It's just. Hey, I'm tired. I'm out of it. I just got back from work. Shut up. Anyway. Sandow steals the victory. Anyway, so moving on. Next, we have a 6-man tag match in the Divas division. I'll let you cover this.
Anyway, this match is going to feature the team of Natalya, Caitlyn, and Layla. And they're going to take on Eve, Oksana, and Alicia Fox.
Mm-hmm.
With Team Eve, I'm going to just balance this one out a little. Oksana, not really a wrestler per se.
Oksana has no skill. Eve is a veteran. She knows what she's doing. Alicia is about mid-card diva.
Well, thanks for, taking up my whole little time frame there. But...
that's pretty much summed up in a nutshell.
Which I was going for.
You like to ramble, especially when it comes to divas.
Shut up!
Moving on.
Back to the... Okay. After a short match, we're gonna say that the match was nothing awe-inspiring. I mean, it's kind of the same thing we see every week.
But here's the thing.
It kind of featured... I'm sorry.
If you compare that match to the match they had when they were in England, there is a world of difference between the two matches. Because, as I said before, when they were in England and the UK, they were just flaunting out fan service. That's all it was. They are actually wrestling in this match. They are doing extremely well as wrestlers. They aren't BSing around just trying to get a few whistles and whoops out of the crowd. They are wrestling, they are doing their jobs, and they are doing it well. I cannot stress this enough. WWE has got to stop just saying that looks mean everything. We want and desperately need talent in the Divas division. Or else it will die a horrible death and may just completely disappear. Alright.
Now that we've had your 2 cents on this.
Of course, go ahead.
Anyway, on a side note, WWE is looking to add more divas to their roster. We'll cover that in our Hot Topics section of the show.
Oh, Caitlyn also picks up the win.
Oh, and Caitlyn did pick up the win, I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm. Alright. For next match, we go back to the teams of Foley and Ziggler. This match is a tag team match with Randy Orton and Miz taking on Del Rio and Ziggler. The match was...
I was kind of interested to see how this one would play out. I mean, we haven't really seen this pairing before.
Yeah, it's definitely a first.
But back to you.
The match was interesting. It wasn't as good as it could have been.
But it was nonetheless pretty decent.
Yes. Yeah. The Miz and Orton were more or less pulling the tagging stylings of Kane and Bryan early on, and with the I'm just going to tag myself in regardless of what the hell you're doing.
While we're on the subject of, we had Del Rio on our subject matter, we didn't really see any progression in the, Rosa Mendez Del Rio storyline at all. I don't know what the WWE has planned for that, or if they just, fell through on that. But nonetheless, we'll see where it goes from there.
Yeah, I think it may be just happening more on the red brand than the blue brand. Anyway, moving on. The Miz picks up the pinfall after the match, and he pretty much stole Randy's thunder. So
and nobody does that.
And Randy had RKO'd the Miz immediately afterwards. So Survivor Series should be pretty interesting, seeing how the team is not working as well together as they should.
Next, this one was not too important, but a little bit important. We're going to have Sheamus out in the ring. He's going to air a few of his grievances regarding the Big Show. Sheamus is basically ready for a fight. That's when Big Show appears. Now, I forgot to mention that at the beginning of the show and a couple times throughout the show up until this point, Sheamus was backstage in the parking lot area waiting for the Big Show to come out. So I'm guessing he beat the living hell out of him at as soon as he got there. But anyway, Sheamus comes out and basically he's ready to storm over to Big Show and start fighting. And this is where Booker T comes out. Now, this is where you see a little bit of, a little bit of Booker T, wrestling experience kicking between holding back not the Big Show. Sheamus. Anyway, Booker T is going to escort Sheamus out of the building. Well, basically ask him to leave. Now, of course, as everyone predicts, at this point, we're not going to see the last of Sheamus tonight. They need him to, make the match. Anyway, they really should have let him fight, in my opinion. But, it would have kind of got the fans more pumped for the pay-per-view.
Yeah. However, during the night, Sheamus tweets about just him having a pint, and we see the pint gradually being decreased over the course of the night. So,
Anyway, next we're gonna return to singles competition. Gary, this is all you, my friend.
Kane will be facing Wade Barrett. Now, this is interesting. When the match was first brought up, Barrett actually smiled at the thought of it, and he actually seemed pleased about being able to face Kane, which was quite odd because no one really wants to go into the ring with Kane. Barrett has been dominant since his return, and Kane is doing extremely well as of late as well. Unfortunately, we do not see a finish in a match because of Team Ziggler interference. And Kane was about to pull off a chokeslam when all of Team Ziggler comes in and starts wailing on Kane, weakening him before the pay-per-view. Then Team Foley comes into the ring to rescue Kane and clear the ring.
The only person we did not see get in the ring was The Miz.
Because
Miz was just coming off of a match.
Yeah. After Team Ziggler runs off, The Miz steps out onto the stage, and he's more or less rubbing his jaw.
Followed by 3 RKOs from Orton to dispose of Team Ziggler.
Yeah. But yeah, Miz is kind of just rubbing his jaw, stretching his neck, and he's just more or less glaring at Randy Orton because he's a bit pissed about getting RKO'd. Anyway, so yeah.
Our next match is going to be Sin Cara and Antonio Cesaro facing off. This is Sin Cara's return to singles action after having been paired up with Rey for the past number of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
The match was more or less short, and in the end, Cesaro wins by a pinfall. R-Truth was on commentary during this time.
Okay, I'll cover this.
Yes, I was waiting for this.
Okay. Match ends. R-Truth steps onto the commentator's table. He takes a mic and he goes, can I have your attention? Everybody knows I tag along with little Jimmy tags along with me. But I want to quote another Jimmy.
Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Hacksaw Jimmy Duggan. And he starts up a USA chant. And everybody in the crowd's going, USA, USA. And Cesaro's just kind of getting a bit unnerved because everybody's chanting USA, including R-Truth, as he's going into the ring. So he kind of Cesaro gets out of the ring as R-Truth gets in and goes towards the backstage area, holding up the belt, going, "This is mine, this is mine, this is mine." I just kind of wish that they played Hacksaw's theme music. Exactly. Oh! And then that would have been beautiful. But nope, they just played R-Truth's theme music.
Yeah.
Or hell, I'll just have Hacksaw all of a sudden just start running around the ring.
With the 2x4?
Outside of the ring, 2x4 with a flag tied to the 2x4. Oh! That'd be hilarious. And it'd be a great way to get a bet into it.
But it kind of be like, where the hell did you come from, Duggan?
Who gives a damn? It's a legend and coming in and doing something hilarious.
Yeah!
Oh! Anyway.
You good?
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm not sure yet. Anyway,
right.
We're both going to kind of cover this next.
Okay.
Our final match. Go ahead.
The final match is our main event match between Big Show facing an unknown opponent. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I saw this coming a mile away, and I was actually quite disappointed about it. His opponent was the Great Khali.
Why were you... this is where the debate can take. Okay.
We've seen Khali versus Big Show matches before. We've seen Big Show defeat the Great Khali before with great ease, and there's really nothing surprising about it. However, they make the Big Show act so scared and so unnerved that Great Khali is there. It's just WWE really dropped the ball on this one, I feel, because it's just Big Show's acting like as if he's never faced Khali before in his life, and he's actually being manhandled a bit, which is just it just didn't really set well with me because I mean we've seen those matches before. We've seen
We
Khali,
haven't seen many of them though. We've seen maybe one or two between those two.
yes, but it's always been the same thing. And take out on Khali's legs, there you go. Oh, it's done.
But here's the thing: it's two freaking giants.
Yes, and
And-
we've seen that match before, or is what I'm saying. And
I
mean,
get we've seen that match, but we haven't seen this caliber of match, and Khali hasn't been on wrestling in about a month or so.
yeah, but
Regardless, so he's
everybody-
fresh.
yes, but here's the thing: everybody he can remember Big Show beating Khali before, so it's just, yeah,
It was
Either
kind
way.
of just a match to show, you know,
yeah,
Big Show's not all he's built up to be. He's a man like everybody else,
yeah, and they
and
could
he
have,
can be beaten.
and as you said, they could have shown it by having Sheamus kick the crap out of Big Show in the ring, but we'll
But that
get to
can't
that later.
happen.
We'll get to that later.
Anyway, this match was probably the best match I've seen tonight. This is my version of it because Gary apparently didn't like it at all.
No, I mean I enjoyed it, and as a fan, it's just as an observer, it's just I don't think that creative is really working with their head on straight. They haven't been doing well the past few months. They really need either a major overhaul of the creative team or a complete new creative team and to start from scratch because storylines are getting drier and it's just all in all the company is hurting because of a poor creative team.
Anyway, despite losing to the Big Show, Khali went out there and he performed well that last night,
Mm-hmm.
and he left everything in the ring. After the matches ended, our camera's gonna cut backstage.
Show won against Khali by spearing him, then trying to go for the choke slam, which I mean, come on, seriously, you're really gonna try to choke slam him? Whatever. Anyway, but Khali counters that, but then gets hit with the KO punch, and we know what happens after that. Anyway,
The camera's gonna cut backstage, and Show's gonna be walking.
oh, we forgot one last thing though. After Show had won, Sheamus' music hits.
Oh yes. How could-
Sheamus is panicking. He has no idea where the hell Sheamus is. He's looking behind him. He's looking to the...
Hold on. Correction. You said Sheamus was panicking.
No,
Big Show.
Sorry, Big Show was panicking. He had no idea where Sheamus was going to appear. Or he was looking behind him. He was looking up at the stage area. Sheamus didn't come out whatsoever. Then Big Show's music played, and he even flinched when his own music played because he was just had no clue where the hell Sheamus was.
So basically, Big Show took off, and now we're getting to the point where the camera cuts backstage. Show's walking out of the arena, but when he gets to his bus, hello, Sheamus.
Yeah, Sheamus was hiding inside the tour bus and starts beating
The hell out of him.
up.
Which was, well,
Sheamus manages to put a Big Show into a cart or side window. Then Big Show puts Sheamus into a windshield. Well, Sheamus is just kind of on top of the car in a daze, Show
starts walking off.
But then Sheamus pulls an Assassin's Creed type of a shit. And he jumps on top of the car, runs after him, jumps after him, hits him on the head, causing Big Show's head to hit a windshield. Then Sheamus starts slamming Big Show's head into the front on the top of the car, and it was just damn brutal. Finally, all these officials and all that separate the two men, and Sheamus gets escorted out, and the last thing we see is the camera going to Big Show, and he's knocked out cold on the ground.
It took a shitload of people to get off Big Show.
I counted at least 15, not counting Booker as well. So there could have been 16 to maybe even 20 men trying to separate the two guys. So yeah. This is definitely a somewhat good way to hype people up for the pay-per-view, and I'm hoping that it lives up to expectations, because if it doesn't, there's going to be serious repercussions with it. Alright, and of course, now we head over to Jason for Hot Topics.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Hot Topics.
Turn the quiet up.
So, the things we're covering today. Big plans that are going to change the Divas division. We have backstage note news on Jerry Lawler. We have details regarding the Miz's babyface turn. And finally, an update on Cody Rhodes. So, first we're going to start off with our changes to the Divas division. Of course now, the WWE's Diva division has certainly seen better days. The company has lost a lot of female talent over the past few months. Bella Twins, Beth Phoenix, Kelly Kelly, just to name a few. Meaning the women's roster has grown, alarmingly depleted. Furthermore, the women who have stayed, like Natalya and Layla, they've fallen into irrelevance, and the booking team, I should correct myself there, they seem reluctant to do anything meaningful with them. Eve Torres, she's the current Divas Championship. She's a good talker, she has great mic skills, and she's a good wrestler. Despite her being face and heel, she can wrestle, and that's kind of what we're leaning towards. But she also seems to be aimlessly drifting off into nowhere. And it's basically drifting off in a division that is neglected by the creative team and is ignored by the fans. Like Gary was kind of saying, if we can get Gary into the shot here. Like Gary was saying with the service, which I'm going to let you kind of cover one more
What, the
time.
fan service in the UK?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, hell, they had Oksana crawling on her hands and knees in the ring and pinning down Layla and making in a pose that pretty much made it look like, well, hell, lesbianism in the middle of the frickin' ring. That's not wrestling. That isn't wrestling. I don't give a damn what anyone has to say. I don't give a damn about what anyone has to say. The shit that they pulled in the UK was not wrestling. Period.
However, thank you, Gary. This week, the WWE seemed to liven up the crowd a little bit more because that crowd was going crazy the whole night. More or less. I mean, there might have been one or two matches where they were just a little silent, but, for the most part, they were on it. Back to our Divas division. Interestingly, we have an update on WWE's feelings on the current state of the division, as well as future plans for it. It seems WWE is not exactly happy with how things are going and has some big changes in mind. I will read this verbatim. With the Layla versus Eve feud dead, there is an understanding that they need more women quick. Since there are 0 new challengers left on either the face or heel side, there might be a few call-ups soon. While it remains to be seen if the companies will ever get serious about their women's division, this can only be good news. WWE has several talented divas in developmental, which FCW, more or less, like Paige and Audrey Marie. And the division desperately needs all the new female wrestlers it can get. Certainly, the division is in such a state at this point, there's nothing to lose in calling up some new girls. But as Gary was, if they bring up new girls, they have to compete. Not for their looks, not for their, whatever else. They need to...
Not for the looks, not for the sex appeal.
That, yeah. Moving on. Our second hot topic will be, there's backstage news regarding WWE's heart attack angle with Jerry Lawler from Raw. This past Monday, Jerry Lawler returned to Raw emotionally after his heart attack like 9 weeks ago, I believe it was, 10 weeks ago. And WWE wasted no time in making it part of the storyline. As Lawler was not giving his As Lawler was giving his heartfelt speech, he was interrupted by Paul Heyman and CM Punk, who proceeded to mock his condition and pretend Heyman had his own heart attack right there in the ring. This instantly, not even a second later, probably started getting heat from people within the industry and fans who felt the angle went too far, kind of like us. There is only one person who can decide if the angle went too far, and that person is Jerry Lawler himself. According to a report, Lawler was in on the angle a long time ago, and this is what it says. The controversial Jerry Lawler angle from Monday's Raw, where Paul Heyman and CM Punk mocked his heart attack, was actually booked several weeks ago and approved by all parties that were in the ring, meaning Lawler, Punk, Heyman, and Foley. One WWE source said the whole angle was a perfect example of how Vince McMahon thinks. Very people inside and out of the company were shocked that the WWE did the angle because of how Vince is, and because WWE has done much worse in the past. Lawler holds a certain position in the wrestling world, and WWE would not want to jeopardize their relationship with him over a silly angle. WWE has done worse angles in the past, and they will probably do worse angles in the future. Not everything will be liked by everyone. Eric Bischoff was right when he said controversy creates cash, and this is an example of how controversy at its best. WWE did an angle, and it got people talking. Whether they liked it or not, the intended goal was to get buzz, and that's what they got in spades. I say if Lawler was cool with it, then nobody should care one way or another. What do you think? Is it still offensive despite Lawler's involvement? Well, since we've asked this question, we're going to answer this for you. Gary, please step into the camera.
The way I see it, morals are morals. They cross the line, they really should own up and apologize. Because, sure, Jerry may have been okay with it, but there are hundreds, if not thousands, of viewers who see this as thoroughly offensive because, they had family members that had heart attacks, and they just, seeing anybody, I lost a family member due to a heart attack. Well, I had a relative that I never knew died because of a heart attack, and just recently I had a family member who went through a heart attack-like event, and it's really nothing to joke about. I take it seriously, and it's just
sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah.
And after everything that happened last month with freaking WWE's involvement, rise above cancer, and then for them to come off and do this.
Yeah, it's just WWE really has to stop doing this because they're more or less contradicting themselves with anything and everything they do. Rise above cancer, they
don't be a bully.
Be a star program. Don't be a bully. What do we see Big Show doing? Bullying.
Bullying.
Exactly.
Regardless if they're heel or face, they need to.
Exactly, and with, like you said, the rise above cancer, and then we see Paul Heyman acting like as if he's just having a heart attack right there and then. It's just complete and utter bullshit, and we're sick of it. Well, Jason and I are anyway, but to each their own, I suppose.
Moving on, we will, in lieu of time. So storm through these, I will read these to you verbatim. New details regarding The Miz's apparent babyface turn. There are new details emerging in regards to what appears to be a babyface turn for former WWE Champion, The Miz. The feeling is that he is one of the best talkers, and he does a great job representing WWE with promotional and charity work. There is also the strong feeling that The Miz has done everything he can do as a heel. They are looking for the best way to bring Miz to the next level, and the feeling is that the best way to do that in turn is basically to turn him babyface and do it in an organic way. Miz turning babyface isn't being planned to be a short-term angle, and the turn itself will reportedly take time if WWE has it their way. What is interesting is that if reports are accurate, and there is no reason to believe they are not at this point. The company plans on taking the slow burn approach to turning Miz, rather than saying outright that he's now a babyface. With someone like The Miz, who spent 6 years as a heel, expecting people to accept him right off the bat is a rather lofty expectation. But taking things slow, they can allow anticipation to build and can tell a story that eventually leads to the one moment that really cements the awesome one as a babyface. It's interesting to point out that the report mentions an expectation for Miz to feud with Cesaro in a high-profile program in 2013. That I'll look forward to. If everything goes according to plan and The Miz manages to get himself over as a fan favorite, he could do wonders working with the U.S. champ, who at this point is still searching for that something that will clip the audience. Regardless of whether it works or not, turning The Miz is an admirable move by the WWE. He has been a WWE champion and held every other championship the company has to offer its male competitors, and his main event is WrestleMania. He has also proven to be a tremendous spokesperson for the company, both with media and charity, as the report points out. Moving on and switching things up could only and should only be beneficial to the performer and the company itself. Oh, well, as a whole. Finally, we have an update on Cody Rhodes' injury that he sustained on main event. WWE.com has released the latest official statement on the condition of Rhodes. The reports of Rhodes' injury were first released Tuesday night after the second-gen superstar sustained an injury during a tag match against Team Hell No for the taping of the main event. According to WWE.com, the latest news looks grim for Rhodes as a member of Team Ziggler scheduled to compete this Sunday at Survivor Series. WWE's prime physician, Dr. Sampson, characterized the injury as a concussion and a strained shoulder. Wow. Blah, 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 blah. Because of Rhodes' key involvement in this Sunday Survivor Series pay-per-view, WWE officials are worried about his status. As of the publishing of this article, WWE has yet to announce Rhodes' status on Team Ziggler. His status for the pay-per-view is in question. It's not known whether he will compete in the Survivor Series tag match, the elimination one against Foley. Team Foley. Anyway, a second article released from WWE listed Rhodes' possible replacements for this Sunday. While no official word has come out of the WWE as yet about Rhodes appearing at the Survivor Series, he did post the following on Twitter. MRI results: torn trapezius, grade 2, torn deltoid, grade 1, separated shoulder, no surgery needed, won't stop us, #boyhood dream. In debt to Ted DiBiase for packing my bag that night, and Damien Sandow for refusing to tag me in after I got hurt, protecting my career. Cody Rhodes underwent the MRI on his shoulder as well as several concussion tests yesterday. If he's able to work the elimination match, it will be a last-minute decision, I am told. We are told. The company does not want him in the match if he's not cleared by their medical staff for obvious reasons. The word yesterday was that if Rhodes couldn't work as part of Team Ziggler, Tensai would likely step in. Other superstars mentioned include Ricardo Rodriguez, David Otunga, Michael McKilligutty, and Matt Striker. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is our show for today. Thank you for viewing Hot Topics. Can we please?
USA! USA!
In lieu of time, please, let's move on. Anyway, like we said at the beginning of the show, we do not have a show coming up until 2 weeks due to Thanksgiving holidays and festivities, so we will see you then. Please keep in mind that tomorrow is the pay-per-view Survivor Series. I will be watching. Gary, unfortunately, maybe not, despite various circumstances that have come up. Anyway, we thank you for watching this episode. We will be back on the following Tuesday for our actual live episode. So, guys, thank you all for watching. Of course, this is Wrestling Rundown, and this is Jason and Gary coming to you from miles away. I don't know. I was kind of looking for something to go out with a bang. Anyway, Jason and Gary signing off.